Shalom. Welcome to the second video in a series of videos offering the Rabbi's explanation of everything that seems to be. In the first video, we explored an explanation of how everything that seems to be came about. And we offered the idea that this isn't a real place, it's just a dream. Not a new idea, Maya, it's an illusion. Made up of wave-like patterns of energy that behave differently depending on who's looking at them. Observer, not separate from that which is being observed. Wave-like patterns of energy, the stuff of dreams. Nothing real about it. In the introduction to A Course in Miracles, it says, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Nothing real can be threatened. Not by wind, not by bombs, not by time itself. Look around you, look at the buildings, look at the furniture, look at the bodies. If that's true, is any of it real? 2,000 years ago, Jesus said, lay not for yourselves treasures on earth. The things of time are not real. The things of time, if it's not eternal, it's of no value whatsoever. God is eternal. God creates like unto himself. What God creates is eternal. You but dream a dream. And guilt is inherent in the human condition. Because in order for you to be separate from God and all of creation, in order for you to be separate from the wholeness of reality, you have to be in constant denial, vigilant against God and his kingdom, vigilant against wholeness, against oneness. And you can't do this without guilt. And so guilt weaves its way into the dream. And almost everywhere you turn, guilt is validated and supported again and again. You leave your little doggy at home all alone while you go off for the day. Guilty. You didn't call an aging parent today. Guilty. You didn't do the right thing when it came to raising your children. More guilt. You spent too much money on that pair of shoes. More guilt. There were too many calories in that lunch that you ate today. More guilt. Everywhere you turn, more guilt. And because you have to live with yourself, you don't want the guilt. And so this is your dream. Since it's your dream, you people your world with others that you can project your guilt onto. If you can somehow make them feel more guilty, you'll feel less guilty. You can't live with yourself. You can't live with all of that guilt. And so now you exchange your guilt for grievances. It's not my fault, it's his fault, it's her fault. The secret of salvation is that you're doing this to yourself. You're the dreamer of this world of dreams that has no other cause. You're experiencing the results of your mind. You wrote the script. What are they saying and doing to you? The question really is, how are you choosing to react to what you told them to say and do? You're doing this to yourself. So now you've exchanged the guilt for grievances, projected it out there, and what you blame your brother for is what you have done, attributes within you that you don't want to own, that you project it out onto them. Your mind is all powerful all of the time. You're experiencing the results of your mind every moment, being the dreamer of the dream. That's why placebos work. That's why positive thinking works. And you're always praying, and you're always getting what you're praying for. At the root of all suffering is guilt and grievances. A grievance is just guilt that's projected out. Guilt and grievances, the two G words. Guilt and grievances are prayers for suffering. When you have a grievance, you're praying that somebody else suffer. They did something bad. They treated you unfairly. They deserve to pay. They deserve to suffer. But there is nobody else. There's nobody out there. So your prayer for their suffering is going to boomerang on you, and you're going to get it back. And your guilt is a prayer for your suffering. Father, I've done a terrible thing. I should pay for that. I deserve to suffer. Guilt and grievances are at the root of all suffering. The remedy is forgiveness. I think I mentioned in the first video that you cannot awaken from a fearful dream. Or maybe I didn't mention that in the first video. You cannot awaken from a fearful dream. So if you're pretending to be the victim of your own prayers for suffering, the dream is going to seem very fearful. The remedy or the avoidance of all suffering is forgiveness. The release of all guilt and grievances. And forgiveness is nothing more than a recognition. You haven't forgiven your brother until you recognize that he didn't do anything to you. You haven't forgiven yourself until you recognize that the separation never occurred. You're at home in heaven dreaming of exile. You are one with God and all of creation. It cannot be otherwise. You are the guiltless, holy Son of God. You're an infinite and eternal being, dreaming that you are a thing that you are not.